All righty, good evening all. This is the Frank Report. I'm your host, Francis Steffan. You're listening right here on American Voice Radio Network. It is the 25th of November. It's still Tuesday evening out here on the Pacific Time Coast. Of course, over on the East, it is tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving, you folks over on the East Coast. And soon to be happy Thanksgiving out here, but not yet. And it is it's Wednesday, that's right. Which means we have Melissa Roxanne, host of New World Order Info on Mondays, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you.
All right.
We're number one already on TalkStream Live.
Huh?
You are.
What?
Yeah, we're number one over there.
What, did George Norrie die or something?
He's second.
Wow. Usually he's always in my way. The scientist at the heart of the climate change scandal is now under growing pressure to quit. George Monbiot. Now, I want to make sure I point out how they're already spinning this. Okay? Now, George Monbiot is leading environmentalist. A leading environmentalist, said Phil Jones, should resign. Phil Jones. Okay, George Monbiot is a leading environmentalist. Phil Jones is the scientist at the heart of the thing. Saying Phil Jones should resign from the climatic research unit over leaked emails that appear to show researchers suppressed scientific data. Now, that's all he really says. And then later on in this article, they say, they say some of the nasty things they said, which are really meaningless. It just shows they're jerks. It doesn't show that they've really done anything. But they go on and they say, although there's no hint of evidence that climate change is not real, the emails appear to show researchers manipulating raw data and discussing how to dodge freedom of information requests. And at the top here, suppressing scientific data. What they did was they kept away all the data. It's like this. You go to court, because really this is like a legal battle. One side says it's this way, one side says no, it ain't. But these guys control all the evidence. And they say, oh, man is guilty of global warming, it's CO2 and yada, yada, yada. And then the other side says, well, let's see your evidence. No, we'll give you this and that and the other thing, but we won't give you this and that and the other thing. We won't give you any of the evidence that shows you're right and we're wrong. And that's what they've done, and they've manipulated their own data. I think the biggest thing, which is not even involved with their emails, but I said it earlier, and I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it, because I think this is the piece of evidence that people, while they're looking at these emails, and these guys are clearly jerks and liars, what's important is their science is junk, and it's not true. They have manipulated the data, just like they said here, but how they've manipulated, one example of how they manipulated the data is they get their wooden mannequin up there to do his little, dog and pony show called An Inconvenient Truth and say, well, look at the data. Look at this data here. Look at how the temperature of the planet and CO2 rise together. Well, you know what? That's true. You could put up a chart and show that and say, yes, this is true, because it is true. CO2 and the temperature of the planet does go up together. The only thing they leave out is that little gap between the lines is like a 10-year gap. And the other thing they leave out to say is that, oh, hey, guess what? The temperature of the planet goes up first. Meaning the temperature of the planet starts going up, and then 10 years later, CO2 levels start rising. You see, that tends to say, let's see here. For one thing, something else. Perhaps the big burning ball in the sky is making the temperature of the planet go up. And somehow, by making the temperature higher, somehow it's creating more CO2 in the atmosphere. Now, if we look back a little bit, few years, if you'll remember. Do you remember back when the fear was another ice age? That was only 20 years ago.
No, but I mean, I've read articles that say that very thing where the scientists at the time were trying to hype that and
sure.
When
I was a kid, that was the talk. When I was a kid, a little ice age. Well, we're going to have a little ice age. And do you know, the thing is, I think the CO2 rise, it appears from the way the data goes, is that the rise in CO2 is somehow the planet's natural reaction to a rise in temperature with about a 10-year lag. Now, could that be that the planet actually realizes and somehow regulates itself to know that, well, if the temperature of the planet goes up, that means the temperature of the planet's going to come down. And there's a 10-year lag to say, well, in 10 years, once the temperature goes up, I'm going to start producing more CO2 because I know it's going to be coming down, and CO2 will trap what heat we have back here on the Earth because, bingo, back in the 70s, they were actually talking about releasing more CO2 into the air, into the atmosphere to try to, keep what heat we have in the atmosphere. Because the ice age was coming. It's ridiculous, and it's a lie, and they're using it as a front just to take your money and put you in poverty. And it's not, the bottom line is control. And I realize everybody out there realizes that, but, well, the first thing is to make you poor. Then to take everything you own. And to make you a serf on the land. And now there is total control over you. And if you don't understand that, please go online and look up the Dark Ages. Go look up serfs on the land, the Dark Ages, things like that. And you'll see what they have in mind. What they have in mind is not a new world order. It's the old world order.
You're listening to AVR, the American Voice Radio Network. We're on free-to-air KU band satellite at Galaxy 19 at 97 degrees west, frequency 11836 vertical with symbol rate 20.770, PID left audio channel. Visit our website at theamericanvoice.com.